G'day there, my name is Megan Shannon and recently I took a trip to Mount Bison Station. The property is 140 kilometres northeast of Rockhampton, the beef capital of Queensland. The land is part of the Durrumbal tribal grounds, with a few notable tribal sites on nearby properties. The property is 140 kilometres northeast of Rockhampton, the beef capital of Queensland. The land is part of the Durrumbal tribal grounds, with a few notable tribal sites on nearby properties. The property has been family owned and run since the 1920s, when it was originally a 200,000 acre property with a number of homesteads throughout. It was divided up into properties 2 generations ago, with Frank and Ivy Shannon building the homestead that is now Mount Bison, on a property of 14,000 acres. Frank's eldest son Peter and his wife Rosalie now run the property with the help of their 2 sons. Before the Bruce Highway was sealed, it would take around 4 to 5 hours to travel to Rockhampton. Before this, goods would be received via the rail system, which is no longer possible. The smaller towns nearby, Ogmore, Marlborough and Yamba, also held a much greater range and stock of supplies than they do now. The business plan on the farm is based on net profit. This is your income left over after paying all of your costs. Sometimes outside staff are hired to help with fencing or mustering, and obviously this affects the profit line. As Peter said, if you could run a farm with a chainsaw and a wheelbarrow, you would. As you can see here, much more than that is needed. The introduction of the Brahman cattle breed dramatically increased profitability for the farm. The cattle seen here are a Brahman Euro mixed breed. Brahman cattle were crossbred in America from a British breed and a drought-tolerant Indian breed. These were then brought to Australia in large quantities in the 1930s and again in the 1980s. The breed has flourished here in Australia, especially in the north of the country, with its ability to withstand long periods of drought, and it can even slow down its fertility rate in these times through a pituitary gland near the ear. This farm selects its cattle for breeding stock. The calves are raised here on the farm, then sold on for breeding or fattening elsewhere for sale. The cattle are allowed to roam free in their selected yards, with the farmer selecting which bulls will hang out with which cows, at what times. In periods of low grass yield, they will supplement the yards via a trough filled with feed. New calves are lined up and branded. The wound is sealed during the process to prevent infection. Australia introduced plastic tags to put onto cows, like an earring, to help identify them through the chain of production. This is known as the National Livestock Identification System and came into effect in Queensland in 2005. The herd are mustered, sorted for sale, and walk up this ramp into the back of the truck you see here. Peter and Rosalie don't inject their animals with chemicals and prefer to use a method called dipping. The cattle are lined up and jump into a pool of tick wash and walk out via a ramp on the other side of the pool. Any splashes are collected via sloped channels that feed back into the main pool so that wastage is minimised. This device is used to hold the head of a cow while the farmer is doing what we call pregnancy testing. It is not always needed, but the Brahman breed are particularly strong and the nearest hospital is very far away. The cows are regularly preg tested. If a cow is not pregnant after 2 seasons, she will be fattened up for sale or slaughtered on the farm to be eaten. A small number of Jersey cows are kept for fresh milk on the farm. Also, as you can see here, the Jersey mums will happily let little Brahmans have some milk. This happens if a cow rejects her calf or perhaps dies during birth. And no farm visit is complete without taking a bag or 2 of broken down manure for your garden at home. Thanks and hooroo from Australia.